Welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Coyne, founder of Healthy Steps Nutrition, CrossFit HSN, and HSN Mentoring, where we believe something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated. Today, we're talking about something a little bit different than just nutrition. We're talking about simplifying your message as a business owner. Building your story brand has built significant momentum over the years. I first read the book by Donald Miller in 2018. It was like a light bulb went off, and I knew I wanted to learn more. After some research, I signed up for their guide certification. It was about exactly 1 year ago, because I wanted to be able to apply the concepts they discussed in the book to help gym owners run their nutrition programs and market their businesses overall better. What I learned through the training helped gyms be able to clarify their message and really build nutrition into a core offering in their business. After I went through that guide certification, I started following them on social media. And I saw some amazing event coverage after one of their live events. I felt like I was there. It was awesome. Well, I had to find out who was doing it. After some research, I landed upon Clark, the owner of Reverb, who he is one of the brains behind the amazing event social media that you see on StoryBrand social media. We hired them to cover our first live event back in last June for our live workshop. They also went to the CrossFit Games with us and in Sweden in January. It is awesome. It helps people feel like they are actually at the event. They will also be coming with us in Chicago to our next live workshop on Friday, June 5th. Click the link in the show notes if you want more information about the live workshop. You don't want to miss that event. Back to Reverb. They were trained by StoryBrand to be a StoryBrand agency to help businesses clarify their message through mostly event social media. Today, I sit down with Clark to discuss the mistakes people make in their marketing and how to use the StoryBrand principles to clarify their message. Here's my conversation with Clark. I know you're going to love it. Welcome back to the Grow Your Nutrition Business podcast. Today, we have Clark with us, Clark, the owner, founder of Reverb. Welcome to the podcast.
It's good to be here. Thanks, Nicole.
Here, by here, you mean actually we're in Sweden right now?
We are in Sweden.
We are all the way across the world.
On the other side of the pond.
Yeah, we're here at the Coaches Congress, and I thought this is the perfect opportunity to record a podcast on messaging, right?
So important.
We met because I stalked StoryBrand's
Instagram, right?
Instagram, yeah. And I was like, wow, their footage for their live event is awesome. We need the same thing for our live events. So I contacted you, and the first event that you came to was the live workshop that we had.
In Chicago, right?
Yeah, live workshop in Chicago. And then you also, the team came to the games.
Crazy.
And now we're here in Sweden. But talk to me a little bit about what you guys do and your story, and then we'll kind of dive into content.
So it's taken us years to clarify our message, if you will. We are an event media production company that makes great events look great online. And as you mentioned, StoryBrand, many events, people just post off the cuff on social media at an event, and it looks like amateur hour.
Yeah.
Like it looks like an intern or a very busy Nicole grabbed their phone because they were talking to somebody else. They're like, oh, I'm supposed to post on social media. Let me take a picture and post it. And it doesn't look thoughtful, and it usually doesn't make sense, or it's just a bunch of posts that don't make sense. And so we were like, you know what, we can help brands clarify their message at an event by making them stand out on social media. And so that's what we do.
Absolutely. And you guys did an awesome job with StoryBrand for quite some time and have done a great job with us. And you guys are so awesome. But let's talk about StoryBrand. I mean, I became a StoryBrand guide. You guys are a StoryBrand agency.
Last year we became an agency. Yep.
So what is StoryBrand? How do people use it to clarify their message? How do you help events and brands clarify their message?
It starts with the problem. People are wasting an enormous amount of money on marketing. You go down the street and you hire an agency to make a video that literally doesn't talk about your customer's problem. It doesn't talk about what they want, what they're dreaming of. It just talks about how great of a company you are. And people just don't care about that. They care about how you're going to solve their problem. And at the end of the day, that's what's most important. People have problems. They only buy your product when they have a problem. And so StoryBrand taught me that we need to be talking in a language our customers quickly understand.
Absolutely. And for gyms and people that are starting a nutrition business, your problem is people feel overwhelmed because they don't know what the right diet is for them. There's so many different diets out there. People are confused. They read different things all the time. They have different people telling them about different diets, and you need to talk about them feeling overwhelmed.
Exactly right.
And most people skip that whole conversation.
And they just jump to what they do good, what the business does good, rather than that overwhelmed feeling. Same exact thing with Reverb and our clients. They're overwhelmed when they get to an event. They don't have time to post. They're stressed. You know how hard it is to post on multiple channels during an event and manage all kinds of content? Even for us as professionals, it's hard. And then add to the mix you or one of our clients having to run their event plus posting on social media. It is overwhelming. The key word for you and for us is overwhelming. It really is overwhelming.
Well, what happens in reality is you don't end up posting anything, and then you have this awesome event that you're never really capturing how cool it was. And that's a problem because no one's going to continue to come to your events if you're not talking about them.
There's two sides of that. One is you need to be talking about your event, right? You're trying to sell something. You want people to want it. FOMO is a dangerous word sometimes, but you want people to be interested in coming to the next event. So you need to be posting. The other thing is you need to be posting in real time, because when we get back from Sweden and we post on social media, like say we posted next week, no one's going to care because they know that you were there right now. They were there last week. They don't care if you post next week. They want to know what's happening today. And so it's important that you put out high quality content, clear messaging in real time, because no one cares about it next week.
For sure. So you're not talking, most gyms don't talk about their problem, or businesses in general don't talk about the problem. What's another mistake that gyms or businesses make when it comes to putting out content on social media or in general?
So oftentimes you hear this at StoryBrand, and this is where I got this idea from. If you go to an event or a mixer or a cocktail party, and we say I walked up and we started talking at that mixer, and I just was telling you all about Reverb and all the places I've traveled this year, and you might be going and for those of you who can't see our faces right now, the glossy eyed that I don't know what he's saying, but okay.
Yeah. I don't really care. This doesn't affect me.
This doesn't affect me. I just talk about how great of a company and the problems we're solving and just how wonderful we are. You're not listening. My dad started the company 25 years ago. You don't care about that.
No one cares.
And so too many companies, gyms, restaurants, whatever the company is, if you start by talking about yourself, you've lost the customer. You are not the hero of the story. You've got to place your customer in the role of hero, not yourself. And that everybody, everywhere we go, people are talking about themselves.
This is one of the biggest problems that we see on websites, because it is all about the coaches, all about the amazing facility that they have. And most people don't care what kind of credentials you have. They care if you can help them.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So if your website just has all about you on it, your potential clients cannot relate to you.
You're losing sales left and right.
You're losing sales for sure. So less about you, more about them. If we think about the StoryBrand framework, the next thing is the plan. The plan, yeah. And most people are not clear about their plan either. No, they're not. And one of my favorite parts about the StoryBrand keynote is where Don says, if you're not crystal clear on a simple plan, they're going to bypass you, because sometimes your message is unclear, and then you add the 5 steps or 10 steps. No, you can't. It's got to be a simple plan. 1 or 2 things. Yeah, 3 steps maximum. Yeah, and I think most people overcomplicate just what you said, what the plan is. What do you want people to do? What is that call to action? Like, if you're a gym, you want people to book a free intro. You want them to come in and talk to you so that you can learn more about them and tell them how you can help them, right? And not to be vague either. Don't be vague in your plan or your call to action. It needs to be clear. I think, if you confuse, you lose. Yeah. The best way to grow your business is, to have a clear message, right? Isn't that the tagline of their podcast? And so many people put learn more or
there's another
Get
word,
more.
get more info.
Like, what does that mean?
What does that even mean? Learn more. Like, have you ever gone, okay, we're most of us in this room are married. You ever gone on a date and just said, learn more? No, you don't say that. You say, can I have your number?
Yeah. Super clear.
Super clear.
Yes.
I want to go on a date.
Yeah.
Like that's, you got to be clear when you're asking for the sale.
So clear calls to action, book a free intro, and it needs to be said multiple times. I think that was a big mistake that we made is, it was only one time. So if the people missed it the first thing at the header, then now they're scrolling down the entire page and there's no more book a free intros on our website.
Right.
But what if people don't want that, right? Like what if they're not ready to book a free intro,
Sure.
Transitional calls to action.
I love transitional calls to action because they're a little less, it's like, okay, I'm not going to ask for your phone number yet. I just want to say, hey, I'd love to grab coffee sometime. Are you interested? So a transitional call to action is a softer sell to someone. Like, hey, download this free PDF. Here's 7 steps to a healthier 2020. Instead of saying, will you want to buy my product? Okay, you're still thinking about it? That's okay. Here's a free PDF. Just think about me more often.
The goal of that is to get their contact information so that you can consistently build a campaign to get them to come into your facility.
Staying top of mind.
One of the things that we did after I became a StoryBrand guide is we released a sales funnel for every gym running our program, top 5 mistakes people make when losing weight. And it was so much more successful than like a starter guide, right? People are more likely to download something that will prevent them from failing than succeeding.
Yeah. There's got to be something at stake.
For sure. And, we partnered with a company called UpLaunch that allows gyms who don't want to create all of that email content, right? Like automations, because it's kind of hard. Overwhelming to think of how much email content am I going to have to build so that I can get people to come in. But really what we found is like the first 2 weeks is the most important, right? After someone downloads their PDF, you have multiple emails to guide them to come in. So we've got the plan. Transitional calls to action. What's next with the StoryBrand framework?
So the call to action is so important, like you just said. I want to make a point about that real quick. My favorite thing that I remember in describing a call to action before I close this out is if your cash register is not clearly marked, then you're going to lose the sale. Can you imagine going into a cafe or a restaurant and you just had to wander around to look at where to pay? You're going to be a frustrated consumer, and you're going to lose customers because customers don't want to be frustrated.
Yep.
They don't want to be confused. They want just a simple process. And so you get that call to action clearly. And last thing, like I said a minute ago, is what's at stake in a picture of success and a picture of failure. You don't want to be manipulative and be like, oh, if you don't buy from us, you're going to be overweight and miserable and depressed. But you do want to have some stakes in the game. So buy from us, become for Reverb, for example, hire us to come to your event so you're not frustrated, so you're not overwhelmed.
So that you showcase the amazing event that you have.
Yeah.
For gyms, most people will regain the weight that they work so hard to lose. The stats are like 80% of people within 5 years will regain
the weight.
So they lose weight, then they will end up regaining it if they've lost it. But if you have an ongoing nutrition program, you have the support, the accountability, you're more likely to not regain the weight. So you have long-term success.
Yeah.
And
you've got to paint that picture because ultimately that's what you're tapping into your customer's dream or desire. It's where they're going. We call it aspirational identity, right?
Yep.
It's what they're seeking, not their problem. It's where they want to be in 5 years. And if you don't talk about that, they're gonna create their own picture. So talk about where the customer wants to be in a month, in a year, in 5 years.
The truth is, most people have already tried some type of diet before they've come to you. The studies show that people have tried 7 to 8 diets before seeking a professional. So they've already regained the weight that they've worked so hard to lose. So you say that, and
they know.
Verbiage is like, oh man,
they're right.
That's me.
She's right.
But then, looking at what does success look like? I mean, most gyms have success stories of people that have lost 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds. And, a mistake that I see a lot of gyms make is they'll just post pictures of clients who've lost weight on a challenge. When in reality, you want to paint a picture that your nutrition program is long after a challenge, right? So talk about the people that have lost 50 pounds. You're not going to lose those overnight.
Right.
Like, those people have been with you for a year or longer. I love when when I'm at HQ and Greg Glassman, the founder of CrossFit, talks and he asks people to raise their hand.
Yeah.
How many people at your gym have lost 50 pounds? Keep them up if they've lost 100 pounds. There's always people in the room that have those people, those clients. You should be talking the heck out of those people, right? Like capture some success stories. Show before and after pictures. Like those are the people that you want to be painting the picture of what success could look like.
And we just helped a sports therapist organization that helps professional athletes talk about the aspirational identity. And we really honed in on, it wasn't about less pain as an athlete. It was about being able to play with your kids in 10 years. That's what we really, really honed in on, is that, okay, there's going to be pain. They're going to get injured. There's going to be the process of therapy every couple months, but we wanted them to specifically talk about the deep, deep, deep desire of their patients, and it's to enjoy life in 20 years. That's what we're after. We're after better life, more success, thriving with our families.
I mean, people buy things based on emotion, right? So if you talk about, do you want to feel confident in your skin? Are you frustrated because you have regained weight, right? Like people will connect to that and they understand. Talk to me about businesses and communication. Like, let's just talk about social media a little bit.
That's what we do.
What's a mistake people make just in general social media messaging?
So social media is often the thing that, I can kind of half, with my phone. And when I see businesses that are either good or bad at it, they're good at one thing, storytelling. And not to just for the sake of StoryBrand tie it to that, but typically people don't know how to tell the arc of a story on social media. It's usually like, I'm supposed to post on social media, so I just need to snap a picture really quick. And that, in my opinion, does more to hurt your brand, hurt your key message, hurt the quality of leads that you're getting if you're just kind of That's why we often say amateur hour. A lot of brands look like amateurs on social media. You look at their website and look at the videos they make, and they're beautiful, and they spend so much money on their brand. And you go to their social media, it looks like a kid took it over.
Yeah, one of the things that we like to do is have a photographer come in and just take a ton of pictures of people that you can use later down the line. Like save them. And also planning it out, right? Like scheduling your social media out is something that's super helpful. Talk to me about, within a caption, like there's only so much that you can say. Like what should people be saying in those captions?
So we do like 70-20-10 rule, get my math right. 70% of your content on social media should not be about you. Kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier. The hero is your customer. So social media should be, your caption should really be more about how the customer is viewing you, how the audience is viewing you. And then maybe 20% promoting something you sell. And then the last 10% of your social media calendar, if you will, might be the authority that you possess. And we've been doing this for 60 years, or we've served 650 gyms. Like, save that just as the salt. But 70% of your content should be about the lifestyle, highlighting. One of my favorite stories is a church actually in Atlanta, North Atlanta. They aren't using social media to highlight themselves. They use social media to highlight local businesses. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, highlight people in your community, because what they're going to do is then they're going to share those stories. Their friends are going to share those stories. So talk about people you're celebrating. Those
success stories, right?
Success stories, yeah.
Like, how do they feel after using your product? How has their life changed? All of those things.
Well, here's why. People trust people over brands. So the more you can leverage the testimonies of your fans, of your clients, of people that celebrate you, they're going to trust them over you talking about yourself, which is, again, where people make mistakes. We do this, we do that, look how great we are. No, let other people tell that story.
No, I think an important thing to look at too is like the Instagram analytics, right? Like, what posts are getting the most amount of engagement.
Yeah, and why?
Yeah.
You need to ask why.
I mean, for us, I know that our number one post, every time we post a recipe, will get more clicks to our website than any other post, because people love food. Right? So even though we're a gym, posting pictures of food is like the best thing that we can do, because it gets more people to our website. And then also success stories, like posting success stories, posting before and after pictures. People want to see people just like them doing amazing.
It's so funny. that you said that about your industry, and you almost identically nail what's good for us on social. And that's when we put out these like not self-help, but like these 5 steps to this and clarifying your message. We put them on Instagram and do it a slider. We get so many comments and so much engagement on those. And then when we post customer testimonials, I can't tell you how many comments we've gotten that said, I can't believe he gave you a testimonial. That's amazing. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it shows that it goes across industries. It's a communication technique. You need to talk less about yourself. Let other people tell that story.
I think it's important for you to highlight other people doing awesome. I mean, if you open a gym, your goal likely is to help people take control of their health.
Yeah.
Like, talk about those people that are doing awesome, taking control of their health, right?
Yeah. They are proud, probably.
100%. They worked hard to do that.
They worked hard, and that you're just basically serving something up for them to then get, man, they're celebrating me. They're the reason I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm going to share that and brag about them. So
Absolutely. So that was a tip for social media. What else can you say about communication? We've got a few minutes. What other kind of tips can you give people listening to this podcast about painting a clear message or communication, anything?
So when I get to speak at whether it's a conference or a summit, I typically say, if you're not a master communicator, you're losing. You've got to focus on being a great communicator. And that's empathy, that's storytelling, that's understanding your audience. And that goes across social media, speaking in front of people, building a new product for HSN. Like, you've got to be a master communicator. That's so vital. So my tip is to go read books, listen to podcasts on being a better communicator.
Absolutely.
Not just how to sell, but how to be a great person with words. Because one of our mentors, Don Miller, says words add economic value to products. Great pictures and videos do not. Words do. So being a master communicator will help you in every area of life, whether it's with your family, whether it's the product you're selling. Words matter more than anything else.
And if people are like, I don't know what words to say, go talk to your awesome clients.
Yeah.
Find out what they're saying.
Them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, find out what prompted them to buy your service, or what is their life like, and use those exact words, right?
Yep.
Like, people tell me all the time they don't want to reinvent the wheel when it comes to building a nutrition business. I literally use those same words when I talk about our mentoring program, because I know that's what they're thinking. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Yeah. Like, people need to relate. And you can start with talking to your clients, right?
And Nicole definitely didn't ask me to say this, but if you're in the fitness world and you have a gym and you have clients, call Nicole. She will help you with the right words.
I think it's just listening, right? You just got to listen and figure out. I mean, you guys have done such an amazing job, and it's always cool to work with other StoryBrand guides, because I see it one way, you see it a different way, and it's helpful, right? It's so helpful
to hear it. And oftentimes we're too close. That's a great reason why you should listen to your clients, or even listen to outside voices. You're often too close to your message to actually see where you're missing it. So the more you listen to people outside your little bubble, the better you're going to communicate.
Absolutely. No, wrapping this whole thing up, if we look at, all right, the biggest thing people do is they talk too much about themselves, and they don't talk about the problem. Like, that's, the main thing. If a gym is like, okay, what's one thing I can take away from this podcast, what would you say it would be?
Man, put me on the spot. Be a committed learner, especially when it comes to messaging. One of my favorite quotes is this: In times of change, learners will inherit the earth, while the learned will remain beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. You have to be a committed learner. Otherwise, the style, the tone of your message might change, and you might lose out on connecting with your audience. I think it was Tom Rath that said that. In times of change, learners inherit the earth, while the learned will remain beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. So being a good communicator is about learning. That's the big thing I'd give you.
I think that's a great piece to end on. You're right. You have to be flexible with your approach at the end of the day, right? Like, just because it worked 5 years ago doesn't mean it's going to work tomorrow. Yeah. Especially in the CrossFit industry, as a CrossFit gym. And we have so many CrossFit gyms within a 5-mile radius of us. Unlike gyms that started 10 years ago and they were the only ones, and
yeah.
people just joined that gym because it was the only one. Now there's competition, and which is good. I think competition makes everyone better.
Yep, it does.
But you need to really find out what your clients want.
And you know what? Most of those other competitors are not speaking clearly.
No one speaks clearly.
No, yeah, and you have a great opportunity when there's competition to be clear.
Yeah, because people will buy something if you tell them that's what, where to go. Yeah. Like, you're the guide, right?
That's right.
Clark, thank you for coming on the podcast.
I can't. But when I heard that I got to be on a podcast with you, I was like, I'm not good enough to be on a podcast with Nicole. I really felt that way. I still do.
No, you're the best.
Thanks.
You and your team are absolutely amazing. I cannot imagine doing an event without you guys.
Just move to Chattanooga. We'll be with you all the time.
All right. Well, thank you. And
Thanks,
let's
Nicole.
Get back to
talking
to coaches at the Coaches Congress.
Sweden. Let's do this.
Creating a clear message is the best way to grow your business. Clark and the rest of the Reverb team have worked firsthand with StoryBrand to help them deliver clear content via social media during their live events. This year, during the live nutrition workshop, we will be diving into the free intro process and how to use the StoryBrand framework to clarify your message and increase clients signing up for hybrid memberships. If you're not sure what hybrid memberships are, check out the recent blog. I'll put the link in the show notes. Back to the live workshop. It's going to be held on Friday, June 5th at the Hilton in Rosemont, Chicago. It's a full day of short seminars, then practical application with the mentor team. Imagine a room filled with 150 other business owners and nutrition coaches, all looking to take their nutrition programs to the next level. That's exactly what the live workshop is, and you don't want to miss it. So invest in yourself and your business by registering for the live workshop today. Check out the link in the show notes. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. StoryBrand is awesome. If you haven't read the book yourself, I would highly recommend it. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. We are here to help.